It's all happening within about the next 5 hours. There are three supposedly big events happening today from Trump, Jerome Powell, and Porter. We'll be going through what could be talked about here today. We also have some news from the SEC, which is pretty interesting. I think it's actually good news for crypto. But at the same time, Bitcoin's not really moving up. We're still at 112,600, kind of finding our footing after the liquidation cascade over the last 2 days. So let's talk about where the market's at right now. If you don't mind, hit subscribe so you can see future videos just like this. If you want to trade crypto, check out BYDFi. We had a ton of people sign up to start trading yesterday. We did find a pretty significant level of support. We had seen support back on August 3 at the same level, and we had seen resistance around this back in May, which is typically a good sign. A lot of the time we will flip resistance into support. So if you want to trade right now, there's a link to BYDFi. There's a deposit bonus where you can get up to $2,000. If you deposit just $100, you get a $50 bonus. So up to a 50% bonus is pretty awesome for like 1 minute of clicking around on a computer or phone. Also, if you do want to join the Telegram, we can make sure that you are signed up under me. Sometimes people like go search BYDFi and then sign up, and then they don't get these bonuses. So you can definitely check out the Telegram. There's a pin message explaining who to reach out to make sure that you're hooked up under me. So I appreciate that. There are also some bonuses over at BLOFIN and WEEX that go a little bit longer, so check those out as well. BTCC always has a bonus going too. Now, liquidations were massive yesterday and kind of the day before. It's a bit slower today. We actually have $220 million worth of longs liquidated. Yesterday it was like 1.6 billion. So slowing down a bit. The traditional market is actually just sideways for the day, maybe even just slightly red. But there are a lot of big events happening today for crypto specifically. Trump is going to speak. Powell is going to speak. Porter is going to speak too. There's something that could be big from each of these. So Trump is supposed to speak later today, and apparently this speech will include the decay of globalist institutions, a vision for a new world order. A lot of people are thinking that he could be talking about Bitcoin and like a strategic reserve because of what he's saying here, kind of the lead up to the speech. But I'm not sure, right? It could be about something else. We'll see what comes out, what he speaks about later today. I'm not exactly sure when the speech is. I've seen some conflicting information. Like here, it says that already happened. It was at 9:50 a.m. Eastern time. That was like an hour ago, and I've heard nothing about it. I saw someone else saying that it was like late today. So I think this article maybe has the Trump and the Porter announcement mixed up time-wise, because Porter was supposed to be at 9:50. It's been pushed back a little bit. We don't know what it is, but he's saying, I tried to warn you. I'll be joining shortly. Slight delay in the announcement is coming. But he's been playing this up as a huge day. Bitcoin is winning. Bitcoin politics will never be the same. Of course, he oftentimes plays these announcements up, and then it doesn't really affect price. I'm not necessarily saying that it needs to affect price, right? Big announcements, important things can happen without affecting price. If there's someone that sells and there's some good news, it can kind of offset itself. But I am going to be listening to this or paying attention to this to see what comes out, because it could be something big. Obviously, Dennis Porter has done a lot for the space, trying to get states to buy Bitcoin and passing a lot of bills and laws. So we'll continue to watch this. Now, we also have Jerome Powell speaking around 12:30 or 12:45 Eastern time, I believe. I think this will be mostly a nothing burger. Maybe it will shake the markets a little bit, but they pretty much laid out that they want to cut rates a couple more times. Even if he speaks a little bit hawkish, I think we should move past that, because we're at all-time highs. We already know what they were saying just a week ago with what they're going to do, or 2 weeks ago. So I don't think we really have to be too worried that anything major has changed in the last couple weeks. The SEC did make a big announcement. They're working on an innovation exception that would let crypto firms immediately launch products. This sounds very similar to the ETF standards that they were going to produce that are just like generic standards. So that way, not everyone has to check in with the SEC. Basically, if you fill out, or if you check these boxes, your ETF will be approved. It sounds very similar to that. I think this will actually really help. I think this will make companies want to launch more products and more offerings in the US because it'll be much easier to work with the SEC. So that's a good portion of what's happened today. Of course, the ETFs gave us their numbers last night. We actually saw $363 million come out of the Bitcoin ETFs and $76 million come out of the Ethereum ETFs. So some selling. However, BMNR bought another 264,000 Ethereum, raising their total to 2.42 million coins, more than 2% of the Ethereum supply. So we continue to see more and more treasury companies continue to buy. We have gold hitting all-time highs once again today. It went up to 3,823. Year to date, it's up 42.5%, more than Bitcoin. Over last year, up about the same, almost exactly the same. 5 years is up 103%. So even though it's running right now, it didn't really do anything from 2020 to 2024. But now it's making a run. It's kind of making up for some of the lost gains. But usually Bitcoin follows gold, so we'll see if that happens here. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. Let me know if you think anything big will come out of these announcements. Again, I think Trump could announce something big for crypto, but I'm not banking on it. I'm not pretending like I'm not planning on him talking about Bitcoin or crypto. I think that would be positive if he came out with something really bullish on crypto or a strategic reserve, more news on that or something. I really would like to hear how they're planning on accumulating more Bitcoin with a balanced budget or budget neutral. So I'd love to hear that. I'm not sure what the Dennis Porter thing is. Again, maybe he's playing it up and maybe it doesn't seem like that big an announcement that really doesn't affect the price at all. Could be like another state talking about acquiring Bitcoin, which I think is really bullish, to be clear, like long term, but they haven't really moved very quickly. Then we have Jerome Powell speaking. I think that will be a bit of a nothing burger as well, hopefully. And then I think this is actually big news from the SEC. But again, let me know your thoughts. If you do want to trade crypto, check out the link underneath the video to BYDeFi. Obviously, there will be volatility in the future. Honestly, we haven't been that volatile recently. Sure, we had like a $3,000 move the other day, but considering there's $1.6 billion liquidated, that's not that big a move. There will be crazy times in the future though, so hit the bell notification so you know right when I post videos. I really do appreciate it. Just keep in mind, we're coming up on the most bullish quarter of the 4-year cycle, starting in 8 days. So stay focused. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.